Welcome to this GameCrafter tutorial about designing tuck boxes. We provide you with templates that look like this to design your tuck box. But many people seem to forget the rules of the templates, even though they've designed perfectly good cards or mats or game boards. But when it comes to a tuck box, a three-dimensional object, the rules seem to go out the window. So we want to cover the most common mistakes that people run into. They might design a tuck box that looks like this. And the first problem is that they didn't cover every surface. You need to cover everything, even the stuff that's going to get tucked in, including the area of glue, where the glue will go to attach one side of the tuck box to another. They also didn't bleed past the cut lines. Regardless of what it is that you're designing, whether it be a card or a tuck box, you need to bleed your colors past all the cut lines, at least 1/8 of an inch, so there is room for error in the margin of error of cutting. And they don't often account for margin of error. For example, this particular design puts design elements on each face that have a unique color to that face. But the problem is that during the cutting and folding process, that can move within the margin of error. For example, watch the margin of error lines here, the blue dashed lines. Like that. It is still within our margin of error of 1/8 of an inch, but it will look terrible when it gets folded because some of the elements of one side are on another side and so on, because the tuck box was designed improperly. So how do we correct all these problems? How do we make a great looking tuck box without running into these issues? Start with a template, and the first thing to note is that everything outside of the red line, the cut line, is bleed. You want to bleed everything out into the black area, or in the template a gray area. So everything outside of the red cut line is bleed. Make sure that your colors for your tuck box go the entire distance outside of that. Like this. I've covered the entire tuck box with a nice simple pattern that can cover the entire thing, and it goes far beyond the edges of the red cut line. Let me overlay the template so that you can see that. Far beyond the red cut line. So then we can go about designing our box. We could put something on the face of the box. We can put something on the back of the box. We might put little labels or something on the top and bottom of the box. Maybe we want to put some design elements on the sides of the box. But oops, we just made a mistake again, because we designed an element that fits just the side of the box. So we need to make sure that we're very careful about this, that we're not designing elements that fit specifically on the side of the box, and it has to be perfect, because ultimately with all of the machinery that runs through these tuck boxes, with the cutting, the printing, the folding, there is going to be a margin of error, and so we have to build that into our designs. So one way to deal with that is to simply remove those kind of elements that might cover that whole surface. But of course that doesn't work for every design, because in some designs you just want to do something a little bit cooler. So instead you can do something funky, like perhaps stretch your design element to fit the entire side of the box. This way it covers the surface that we want to cover, but it also looks like it was designed to actually fold over into the other elements of the box. And it depends on what kind of design you're coming together, whether or not you can do this, but there are different techniques that you can do with every kind of tuck box design. Just make sure that you're not designing something for a specific face where it will look terrible if it doesn't hit only that face, if it wraps around the edge of the tuck box. So now this is our completed design. The completed design should no longer show any template elements. I should not see fold lines or cut lines. It should just be basically an image that fills the entire surface area of the template that we provide for you, so that the entire thing is filled in like this. And we have our bleed that goes all the way out to the edge of the template. Again, you can see here where the cut lines will fall onto that template or onto the image that we're providing, but we want to make sure that that doesn't appear on the image that we upload. just the image itself, because all of that will come out once the tuck box gets folded. It'll look how it should anyway. So we definitely don't want to see any of those guides there anymore. So that's it. If you design a tuck box like this, you won't have any problems. You'll have a beautiful looking tuck box in the end. Thanks for watching this tutorial on designing for tuck boxes.